Welcome back to another Jazz basketball breakdown. Just got our asses kicked. There's no other way to say that.
How do you break down the second worst loss in Jazz history?
Yeah.
Without swearing a lot
Without
and without
breaking things. And I feel awful. I'm sick for you guys. And so extra not wanting to freaking have to watch that crap.
Yeah, by halftime, you could tell it was tough.
Yeah.
You stuck it out.
Yeah, there was a couple bright spots.
Indeed.
Taylor Hendricks getting some minutes again with Kelly Olynyk out, and man, his shot looks good. And defensively, he looks like the guy we were hoping he could be.
You could tell he has an extra level of defense in him. I mean, he ended up with 2 steals and 1 block, but I mean, there were a couple possessions in a row where he got his hand on the ball. We didn't end up with it, but just causing chaos. And
his block he got, it was a lot of space that he had to close out on to even contest.
That's true. Hardaway pulls up from the 3, and he was back, and he got up there and blocked it. And I don't know what they counted. They probably counted the other one as a steal.
Yeah, probably.
The one that he jumped up and kind of just hung back, and they had a 2-on-1. He's kind of acting like Agbaji was. We got a new
Get out of here, buddy.
New host of the show. But yeah, he's got just an athletic closeout. I mean, gets to the ball, and like I was saying during the game, he's running out there like he belongs right now.
He looks
scared.
He looks light years ahead of the 19-year-old kid that played preseason.
He is, and obviously he's. There are going to be some. He hasn't spent as much time with the first team with his playing with the SLC Stars and stuff. So there's some things that he's not going to be up to speed on, and he should still play more games with the Stars. It's been really good for him.
Yeah, you can see what that has done for his confidence.
Absolutely, and now that he had 10 points tonight.
Yeah, two threes. He had a dunk.
Yeah, and he's going to even have more confidence now going back playing with the Stars, and so. Yeah, as we get towards middle of the season trade deadline, we'll see what happens.
Makes me excited to see Bryce Sensabaugh once he finally gets a little bit of run in as well.
Somebody who definitely has some offensive chops. Yeah, no question. On a year that's shaping out to be a super deep draft. It was interesting watching a show this last week that was kind of rating the rookies and how they're doing so far. Even though we're 20 games into the season, it was pretty interesting. And players like Jarris Walker and Taylor Hendricks still haven't really got that much run or that much play. And there's some other players that will still come through, but it's showing to be an extremely deep draft and an
100%.
Extremely deep defensive draft. The show I was watching said that 3-4 years down the road, this class could have maybe as much as 3 or 4 first-team all-defensive players out of it.
I think there's no question. I mean, freak. Asar Thompson right now.
Yeah.
That dude looks, he honestly looks very similar, not as good of an offensive player, but he looks very similar to what a young Michael Jordan looked like.
The way that he moves, it is
his athleticism and his defensive just ability, but his all-around game, and I know that's crazy statement, but it's just like when you just look at his game and his style in today's day and age without, really having much of a big jump 3-point shot and stuff, but that dude could be special.
Yeah, if he figures out his shot, my goodness.
But yeah, this draft as a whole, like you said.
So it's and Keontae's leading the way with the most assists per game out of all the rookie class. So what was it you brought up the stats the other day that Wembanyama was leading the class in points?
Wembanyama leads all rookies in total points per game, total rebounds per game, total blocks per game, and I think he's second behind Asar Thompson in steals per game.
Yep.
And so there was someone talking about, why Chet Holmgren should be above him. And I get Holmgren's having a great year as well. There's no question about that. Mm-hmm. But the guy can't lead every category and not be the front runner.
Right. You brought up that stat, and then Keontae's leading the assists. That was very cool. So Keontae's on a stretch right now of not shooting very well.
Shot looks awful. It looks really heavy. Like every jump shot he takes just looks like a Taylor Horton Tucker jump shot.
No, you might be going a little farther. That was a bit offside, wasn't it?
But he still had, on a night that he really struggled, he still had 11 assists tonight.
Did he have 11?
He had 11 assists tonight.
I didn't even see that, dude. He had a lot of assists. I know he had a handful of turnovers in there.
4.
And
he may have had 5. I know he was at 4 with like a minute left. So
there's a handful of times that he's making that rookie mistake, right? And kind of hangs his head. And we saw that tonight. I mean, with the rest of the team too. But the amount of things that he's doing offensively, I was going to bring up a comparison because I've seen a few people complaining on some fan forums about Keontae George.
Okay.
And there was a very good comparison that I saw. I don't know if you remember, but Darius Garland's first year in the league, there was a stretch during the season where he was considered to be maybe the worst point guard in the class because he was struggling so much. He was getting a lot of playing.
Oh, really?
He averaged like 30 minutes a game his rookie season.
Okay.
But really struggling, almost had a negative assist to turnover. By the end of the season, he started scoring some points and got his three-point efficiency up. But for a while there, he was really struggling. And that's a normal thing for rookies to have happen. And they stuck with him and saw the flashes and the bright moments. And, second year, he really started cleaning things up. Third year, he was an all-star.
Right.
And that's, the high-level players. Those are kind of the jumps that they make. He's in his 5th year as a pro now. Same class as Horton Tucker. That's what we talk about. That's what we talk about is a player that they progress as they have years in the league, right? A 5th-year player.
You mean you're supposed to get better each year, not just be the same player you've been since a senior in high school?
You can't. Yeah. There's a thing out there called progress. But that's something that not every stat's the same, but see a lot of similarities with Keontae. And there are nights that his shooting percentage right now is really struggling because he's kind of trying to force it sometimes, and it looks like he doesn't really have a little bit less lift, and his shot's real flat, and he's trying to flick it, and and it's struggling. But the way that he works and his attitude and the way that he approaches the game, I expect him to have similar rise.
I agree.
As a Darius Garland into year 2 and 3. It may not fully progress that way, but it was a very good comparison. The only other part that I want to say that I was happy to see is one of the players that came back and showed some fight, freaking Chris Dunn, dude.
He wasn't playing at all.
Didn't even know he was back in town.
Stepped away from the team for personal reasons. Was all of a sudden back tonight, which I hadn't even heard of.
Yeah, I didn't hear that either.
And which I had kind of stayed away for the most part, first from some news today. But I had looked up a little bit of stuff, hadn't heard anything. And isn't just back with the team. He's subbing in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Okay, but played well. Defensive fight like he always has. He got into it with Doncic, and after that, all of a sudden, that floater that he's been struggling with, all of a sudden he did a couple of those, and that looked good. So, looked like the guy that we had last year, in preseason and stuff like that. And so,
yep, we need players like that will fight and be pissed off.
That's the thing. It's a good thing. We're down. We're getting our ass kicked. We're down 30 points at the time, and he's kind of fighting with Doncic and getting into it, gets a double technical and stuff like that. I would much rather that than freaking Taylor Horton Tucker, who's walking around the court and just fine with down by 30 points, right? You can't be content and okay with just getting stomped on.
Championship level teams need players with that kind of personality, Obviously, we're not looking for a Dylan Brooks that's going to go and do crazy stuff, but that is not going to take that and is going to fight. So I really appreciated that in his fight and getting into it. I thought Agbaji played well, ended up with...
I was going to say, you're like, the only other good thing was done. I was like, hold on.
Not the only thing, but that one really made me happy.
Yes, yeah,
that he was out there having some fight. And Agbaji shot well again.
5 for 10 from 3, led our team in scoring, actually, 21 points tonight.
And he was in there during some rough stretches when we were getting pounded. Really, I struggled with some of the defensive matchups we chose to go with.
That's kind of something I want to talk about. Is not just the weird rotations we've been running, like the defensive, like you said, those matchups. Agbaji's has proven to be a good defender, a very good defender. Fontecchio has put together good defensive numbers and stuff recently. We decided to start this game with Keontae George on Kyrie, but not Agbaji on Doncic. And I was okay with Fontecchio on Doncic to start. I thought that was a good matchup. I actually thought Agbaji was out of those are good defenders, a better matchup against Kyrie. So I would have understood Fontecchio on Doncic. But no, we put Agbaji on Derek Lively or Derek Jones.
Yeah.
Derek Jones. So that we
we
can just go hide him in the corner defensively.
And then not only that, we're choosing to run Yurtseven as a drop center on defense.
Goodness.
And not challenging the screen. And so we're letting Doncic come around these screens
just wide
with
open.
Nobody underneath.
But we're also, it's been very adamant the whole season. We don't go over and fight through screens, right? We kind of switch, and so now all of a sudden we don't switch it because we're running a drop center. So now we're not fighting through the screen.
Yeah, that was amazing. And I mean, obviously they're fantastic players. And what Doncic had a triple double by halftime,
29 first ever 29-point triple double.
That's insane. But we let him get into a rhythm. You know, he's a great player, and if you let great players like that who are in good form have open shots and get into a rhythm early, good luck, man.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's, you know, I expected us to have some troubles with this. That's something I talked to you about coming in is how are we going to handle these two players and their pick and roll. And they've been using Lively very nicely, even though they didn't have Grant Williams tonight.
Right.
I wondered how we were going to do with that. And I thought that we made it a little bit too easy. I thought we were going to, you know, they're going to score a lot of points no matter what. But I think that we made it laughable by how we approached it. So that was frustrating to see. I don't understand that in my wee little brain.
Well, and once again, Kessler's benched for Yurt-7, which I understand Kessler's not playing that great right now and stuff like that. But are we really going to say Yurt-7's playing that great right now? And that we've just given up on our second year Kessler because he was hurt the entire season up until now? We've just given up on that guy and he's just going to come off the bench now? What the hell are we doing?
That's a little bit odd to see. I don't know. It'd be interesting to be a fly on the wall and hear some of the thought processes of going through that. Yurt-7 is not a drop center. I would say that for us to play him that way is strange.
Yeah.
You know, we obviously don't have a lot of movement when we run our screen and rolls with him. So there are some questions I have there, but yeah, rough game. We seem to have these every once in a while this season. It would be nice to be able to evolve past that point where we have stuff like this. But
we're
not yet.
Something I've been very vocal about and stuff like that. I was actually thinking about after this game, but something I've been vocal about is my concern for our coaching. And thinking about it, you know, what is this team missing from our coaching standpoint? we have a second year coach who's extremely young, not just a young head coach. He's young.
Right.
We have really no experienced coaches on our entire staff. Like, we don't really have a veteran coach on our coaching staff that a lot of teams have.
Not in NBA first team minutes. I mean, we have like a lot of college experience and I think G League experience on our lead assistant.
Yeah, but when you're talking about, I mean, the amount of teams that have like a Terry Stotts or, you know, some ex NBA head coaches or a lot of experience as coaches within the league and stuff like that, we really don't. So when a guy like Hardy, who is very, very clearly struggling right now as a coach, doesn't really have someone in his tree right now to kind of lean on and sit and go to of hey, what do I need to do here?
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't have a coach who's experienced this, who's seen this as a coach himself and can say, okay, you know, let's try this, right? Who can bring that to him. I was thinking about that actually right before we got on this recording he's a young coach, and I'm not happy at all with his coaching right now this season. But at the same time, we don't really have any, and part of that is his fault, right? He's the one who chooses his coaches,
right? And we saw that Alex Jensen was with us for the last 10 years, and was a lead assistant for Snyder's that whole time, right? And we parted ways with him. I don't know the full story there, but
and so you wonder if some of the drawbacks and negatives we're seeing this year are because we don't really have a veteran presence that he can go to as a coach and work through some stuff. It's new stuff to kind of all of them as coaches. He's got experience with like Jason Terry as a player, who's maybe experienced this stuff as a player, but it is different as a coach.
It'd be interesting to see. And obviously our team is lacking some talent in some ways, and we're kind of a weird roster that we're hoping to get fixed as the year goes along. But from the announcement of our starters in preseason, I've been like, huh?
Yeah.
I have questions. So yeah, that's been a bit of a struggle. We'll have to see how it evolves as we get closer to, if we don't make changes at the trade deadline, this will be an interesting year, right?
Yeah.
This will be an interesting year. So
if we don't make any changes at the trade deadline, it's like we should put
we're rolling the dice for the lottery.
We should put Markkanen on IR. Don't ever come back in this year.
We're rolling the dice for the lottery. Yeah, that'll be interesting. The amount of logjam that we have in certain positions is interesting, and he seems to be going away from Kessler playing with Collins. That seems to be a thing. There was some concern voiced out there of that doesn't work. I still was of the mindset that we don't have enough information on if that works or not.
And that's the thing. You talked about it. You talked about it during this game. Is if that's the case, and if that's why Kessler's not playing, how do we know? Because they have no minutes healthy together.
Yeah, we've played 0 minutes with healthy. Well, zero full games. We had some minutes right at the start of Sacramento. I'm not sure how far into it.
Right.
Kessler got hurt. I wasn't there at that game. But yeah, so I'm still of the mindset that I'm not sure. The jury's out on that one. But if not, we're going to be watching a bunch of our youngsters and our players like Agbaji and
Keontae Kessler or
Taylor Hendricks. And those guys and seeing what they do and looking for the future and seeing how long Forrest Sandoval gets up there and we get some play out of him.
Yeah, we'll see. I really don't think we're going to learn much during December of really what the direction is. I think we're going to have to wait till January to really maybe start seeing some sort of direction on what the plan is.
Yep. That's going to have to be it. In the meantime, celebrate the small victories and watch the youngsters play.
And try not to break anything. I'm very seriously trying not to break certain things when certain players are on the court. So
put them in a padded room.
Yeah. All right, guys. We got a game Friday, so hopefully a bit of a bounce back game.
Yep, and we've had big breaks between these last few games. You hope there would be some stuff we were working on and putting in, but
yeah, hurts to have this big of a break, and that's the response. So we'll see what happens on Friday, but we at least got some bright spots to talk about.
Yep, that's what we have to live on. That's what we're hanging on.
All right, thanks, guys.